Today's episode has been brought to you by Schedulicity.
And today's episode is also brought to you by Time Blocking 101 with Renee Claire. I am super excited about this Connected Yoga Teachers. Renee is a small business cheerleader and productivity consultant for wellness entrepreneurs. She works with a lot of yoga teachers. She is a yoga teacher. She really understands the business of yoga. We heard from Renee back in episode 167, where she walked everyone through the process that she uses to help entrepreneurs to hire other people. And this is a process that she went through with me, and we talk about how it worked in my own business. It's a really great episode. I will make sure to link to it in our show notes. So this training is happening on August the 5th, Time Blocking 101. It's just for our Connected Yoga Teacher audience. This is in 2 days if you're listening in real time, and I realize that some of you listen to episodes well past real-time time. And so if you have missed it, then I will share a link to Renee's website so you can find out when the next one is, or I will make sure to link to something in our show notes so that you can find it. The reason why I'm so excited about this is I did some time blocking work with Renee last week, and wow, it has made such a difference in my week. I'm fitting more work in less time. I'm finishing my days early and on time, and I'm enjoying more time away from my office. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the work that I do, but anything after a period of time becomes too much. So this allows me to come back feeling super refreshed. If you are interested in taking this training with Renee, I have a coupon code for you as well so that you get a discount. The code is TCYT. T is in the, C is in connected, Y is in yoga, and T is in teacher. So just think of all of the letters, the Connected Yoga Teacher, TCYT. Again, I know many of you listen while you're on the go, so if you are busy, don't worry. We have the show notes ready for you all the time. Thank you to our amazing team, and special thanks to Crunch. If you go to theconnectedyogateacher.com/179, then you'll find all of the show notes there and ready for you. If this is your very first time listening to this podcast, hello and welcome. This is the Connected Yoga Teacher Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Crow. I'm a mom of 3, a yoga teacher, and a trainer and consultant who works for yoga teachers. And this podcast was created just for you, so that you can connect to the information and inspiration every single week and feel supported as you navigate these sometimes very tricky jungles of being a yoga teacher and also being an entrepreneur. Something that has become more and more important over the past few years is video. Social media algorithms tend to favor videos on all platforms. Now, if you're like, what is this algorithm everyone is talking about? It's basically what gets shown to you. So if you like to watch some cute little cat video, that's me, then Facebook gets to know, or Instagram gets to know what you like, or whatever social media platform it is that you use, maybe even YouTube. That algorithm says, hey, this person likes this, let's show them more. So social media is tending to favor videos on all platforms. And particularly right now, where a lot of us are encountering this physical distancing, video is the best way to really reach out and form connections with people. So think of the times when you got to go to the grocery store or out for tea with a friend, and then you met up with someone else, they learn what you do, and all of a sudden they're signing up for your yoga classes. In my experience, and with the yoga teachers I'm working with, that's not happening in the same way. So video is really an amazing tool. All that said, though, I know a lot of us struggle with video, me included. I just went back and watched a video of mine on YouTube, and I thought, oh my gosh, I was so nervous in that video. So we all have this, and being confident enough to put ourselves out there and to get our message out there is so important. This is why I'm so excited about today's episode. I want to make sure that you are not missing out on the opportunities to use video for your yoga business. And that's why I invited Alicia Berruti to share with us her take on doing videos confidently. We have talked about video on the podcast before. So we talked with Kira Sloan in episode 88. with Ian Gray on episode 86. The links for those are in the show notes. But in today's episode, we're really diving into overcoming the fear around video and gaining that confidence to do them. Because a lot of you have told me, I don't think I look good enough on video. I can't figure out the technology of it. I am so nervous to do video. Alicia also shares why video is an important communication tool, not just for social media, but to actually talk to people and build a deep connection with them. She shares how we can move past some of the hang-ups we may have around putting ourselves out there to show up on camera, and how we can get started with using videos more effectively and intentionally. As I said before, all of the show notes are ready for you over at theconnectedyogateacher.com/179. A yoga teacher just told me this week that she loves to listen to the episode while she's out doing something and then come back to the show notes and figure out where she wants to go back to so that she can take some notes and have a listen again to certain parts. Now, before we get into today's episode, I have two huge thank yous to shout out here. One is to Schedulicity, our sponsor for a very long time, a company that I have worked with since 2011 as a yoga teacher and also as a yoga studio manager. I am so excited and I need to do a video on this. I have just figured out how to make it easier to connect my appointments on Zoom with Schedulicity. If you are interested in seeing a video about this, send me a quick note, tell me in a voice message from our website, and I'll get that ready and done. So let's have a listen to the hot tip of the week from the team over at Schedulicity.
Hello, Connected Yoga teachers. This is Marcelina with the Schedulicity Hot Tip of the Week. Your yoga videos are capable of reaching an audience larger than any studio is capable of hosting. Once you get into the swing of making yoga videos, consider creating an informative video to show your students how to book online. We've seen videos like this shared thousands of times on social media, and they never fail to bring in new business. If you do end up making a new video like this, send it our way, and we'll be sure to share it on our pages too.
Thank you so much, Team Schedulicity. I see the work that you are doing for our yoga teachers. I know that you have paused all payments until September, and this means so much when our yoga teachers are really needing all the help they can get as they get back on their feet at this time. So if you haven't tried out Schedulicity yet, you might just want to go and check it out because it's free until September the 1st. And all of the bells and whistles are free. So if you want your yoga students to get a text reminder to tell them that they have class coming up and to register and pay partial payments or full payments or set up coupon codes, Schedulicity is really the way to go. I also want to thank Tara Ann from the United States. Tara wrote a review way back in March saying this podcast and the Facebook group are both such great resources. I love that Shannon talks about the business side of things as well as introduces a variety of other topics and addresses specific questions. If you're a yoga teacher, subscribe and join the Facebook group. Hey, if you're a listener and you have not joined the Facebook group yet, I highly recommend you come and join us. There's over 9,000 amazing yoga teachers in there from all around the world, making connections, helping each other each and every day. You can get your questions answered in there. I'm also live in there answering questions as well. I do a live video once a month. I'm thinking about increasing that a little bit and being in there a little bit more on video. How fitting with today's episode. So if you want to join us on the Facebook group, go to theconnectedyogateacher.com and there's a join button right on our homepage. All right, let's dive in and meet Alicia Berruti. Alicia is the national speaker at BombBomb. This is a really cool company. It's a video enablement platform. She's going to tell us more about it in today's episode that helps people communicate face-to-face via video. So BombBomb and the entire company are focused on bringing back the human side of communication to the virtual world by making it easy to record, send, and track videos, allowing you to be quote-unquote in person with those who matter most in your business at any given time. Now, I met Alicia in person at Tarzan K's event in Niagara Falls, Ontario. That was way back in the day, last summer, when we were meeting in person and hugging and sitting by the pool. It's making me miss people just thinking about it. And actually, Alicia and I met at breakfast as we were sitting down to eat our breakfast. And she got talking about the work that she does. And I was impressed right away with how the conversation went to some really big topics around confidence and how we see our body and how we get on video and how we show up as business owners. And her and I were talking like woman to woman, how we show up as women in business. It was such a good conversation. Right in that moment, I thought, I want to have this person on my podcast. Then later in the day, she was the guest speaker. She just blew the audience away in this talk. I walked away from the weekend thinking this was one of the most important things that I could have been sitting in on, listening to. And I was so excited when she said yes to coming on the podcast. So let's dive right in and meet Alicia. Welcome to the Connected Yoga Teacher Podcast, Alicia. It is fantastic to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I'm excited that you're here because, well, actually, I've been putting this episode together in my mind since I first heard you speak in Niagara Falls at the legendary event. We had Tarzan on our podcast. And then I thought, I'm going to her event. You spoke there. And I just thought, this is one of my highlights of that entire event of like, this message needs to get out there. So before we dive in and talk about why it's super important that we do video, tell us, what is the work that you do and who do you do it for?
Yeah. So I work for a company called BombBomb, and we are a video enablement platform. We try and stay away from video marketing because even though we are a marketing tool and a marketing platform, what we really focus on is video for getting you face to face with more people more often, video for communication. So video in email and text as opposed to social media. So we do that, but what we really, really focus on is the aspect of using video for communication, because humans have been communicating face to face for as long as they've been communicating. And yet we spend so much time in our businesses communicating over plain text email and text messages, which are void of all of the things that make us who we are, right? I can show you black text on a white screen and it tells you nothing about that person. So that's what we focus on. My role here is I'm the national speaker, which means that I mostly get to teach and educate and inspire and do podcasts and main stage sessions and webinars. But part of what comes with that, which is a pretty good lead into what we're going to talk about, is that the number one thing that keeps people from doing video and our customers that struggle with it is this uncomfortability with being on camera. So I actually get to spend a lot of my time helping people work through this fear.
And so how did you get there? Like, were you born with this, I don't have a fear about video and here's how you do it?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I've been an actor since I was 12. So when I just kind of knew as a child that I wanted to be on stage and perform and be on camera. And so I started acting as like a 12 or 13-year-old. And I've still, up until now, I still do some acting. So have a lot of time on camera and a lot of time, in front of people. The interesting thing about this fear of video is I kind of intuitively knew when I started recording videos not to watch them back, because I know even with the film stuff that I've done that I have a tendency to pick myself apart or to find the things that the things that I pick up on that I obsess over that no one else cares about. So I kind of intuitively understood some of the more basic mechanics of don't watch your videos back and obsess over it. However, I had to go through my own journey even prior to working at BombBomb of really making peace with my own body and getting comfortable in my own skin And I feel like that work that I've done to make peace with my body and be comfortable in my own skin is some of the most important work I've ever done in my entire life. Because especially when I look around at women, and it's not just women, especially when we're talking about video, it's men too, but especially women, I come across very, very few women that don't actually hate their own bodies. And that breaks my heart.
Do you want to tell us, like, what did your journey look like into that? Like, what is the
Yeah.
work that you did?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an interesting thing because there's multiple angles of it, right? On one hand, I was a pretty sparkly, adorable child, even as a child. And so for most of my life, people had always put a very big emphasis on how I looked. And so objectively speaking, you wouldn't assume that someone who's being told a lot, like, oh, you're so pretty, that they would have struggles with that. But I think there's two things. Number one, when there's such a big focus put on your looks, number one, I realized as a 30-year-old woman that I had spent my entire life only being told I was pretty, and no one ever even told me I was smart. I had to figure that out on my own. As a 30-year-old woman going through a divorce with 3 children, I had to figure out, like, oh, I'm smart. So I think that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is the messaging that we constantly receive from outside, from social media, from movies, from magazines. And I was in a relationship with someone for 12 years that actually worked very, very hard to make me feel uncomfortable in my body. So when I got out of that relationship, I was 29, 30 years old. I had a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And I was starting from the ground up in rebuilding my life. So I was doing a lot of counseling and working on my trauma and dealing with things. But my body was one of the things that I decided that I was going to make a choice to fall in love with my own body and to make peace with it the same way that I was making a choice to make peace with my story and make peace with my trauma. I made a decision that I was going to make peace with my body. And the amount of time and effort that we put into altering our bodies, and I'm not talking about not being healthy, because staying active and moving your body is really important, but the emotional energy and the time that we put in to altering our bodies, to changing the way our body naturally exists, I decided that I would rather put the time and the emotional effort into making peace with my body. So accepting that this is what my body naturally looks like in its state, and without feeling like I have to alter the way my body naturally exists before I'm allowed to show up. And that took a lot of work of literally standing in front of the mirror without my clothes on and telling my body that I loved it, and saying that I was grateful for things, and saying I am grateful for the fact that you grew 3 children. I am grateful for, right? And you don't have to be grateful for your stretch marks. I'm not saying that you have to be grateful for everything, but choosing to be grateful for the things you can be grateful about and accepting the other pieces as just as they are, right? It's not bad or it's not good. This is just what my body looks like.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's not flawless, but what body is. And one of the things that I think really has been the most healing piece out of this is realizing that even the people that we look at that objectively we think have a perfect body, that spend a tremendous amount of time altering the way a body naturally exists, because no body naturally exists with 6-pack. It doesn't.
Right.
That's not the way bodies look. You have to, in order to look that way, you have to put work into altering the way bodies naturally look. And even the people that spend tremendous amount of time to alter their body generally haven't made peace with it. They're
Right.
still not satisfied, right? They still feel like it should look different. They still think that, oh, if I could just do this, or, oh, I need to lean out a little bit, or right, like all of these things. And so for me personally, it is a continual practice. You might have a couple weeks where I'm eating a lot of junk food and my stomach is even extra squishy, and I start to feel like, ooh, maybe I need to do a cleanse or something like that. That's messaging that I still have to come back and say, like, okay, well, why do you feel like you have to alter the way it looks? Maybe alter what you're putting inside of it.
Right.
But why is the messaging coming from how your body is displaying itself rather than how your body is functioning?
This is huge. Did you come up with this practice in front of the mirror on your own, or did a counselor suggest it?
No, this was my own. This was as I started to realize the power of gratitude in my own life for changing my perception of the things that were happening around me. I just kind of decided to apply it to my body. It just seemed like the natural transition when I was discovering, like, wow, gratitude is providing such a huge gateway towards peace in other areas of my life. Like, let's just start it on the body.
That's amazing. And I've seen you speak. You come across with a lot of confidence. So I really appreciate that you say, you know what, it's still a process and I'm still working through it.
Oh, constantly. When I shifted the way we started talking about video as a company, because for a long time before I started in this role, the way that as a company we approached the sphere of video, it was always this: you look like what you look like, you sound like what you sound like, get over yourself, which is true.
Right.
However, it's a deeper issue than that, right? It doesn't, that for some people that might be like, yeah, they're right. Most people, it's a much, much deeper issue. And I remember the moment that changed me on this. And I was at a conference and a woman came up to me and she got really close to me and I could tell she was scared. And she said to me, she said, "Alicia, my coach has been telling me for 2 years that I have to do video, but I can't because I hate the way I look." And I mean, it hit me like a ton of bricks. In that moment, while I was staring into this woman's eyes, I almost burst into tears. And I realized, okay, we have to talk about this differently. Like, we can't just keep saying, get over yourself, because this isn't about video. This is a deeper issue. This is a primal thing that is rooted in us, these lies about what we're supposed to look like before we show up in the world. And that is a moment that impacted the way I speak. And I started addressing this with more vulnerability and started telling my own stories about the things that I've had to work through. Even now, right? Even now, we filmed we did a whole bunch of interviews during our conference called ReHumanize. And I got to interview every single one of our speakers, and it was really awesome. We had a cool little interview room set up with these orange swivel chairs. And we did our first interview, and our camera guy wanted to watch the footage back just to make sure that lighting was good, the sound was good. And so I was like, ooh, I want to see. So I jumped up from the interview chair and went back to the monitor before our next guest came in as he was replaying the footage. And because I was sitting in a chair, the very first thing that I saw and the only thing that I could see was my stomach, because I don't have a flat stomach, which you can get away with on stage with feeling very comfortable in maybe how you look. But once you sit down and things start to like bulge the way normal human bodies look, right? I realized in that moment, like, oh, I have to stop watching this footage, because I don't want, like, this is a problem that I'm obsessing over this one thing that has nothing to do with these interviews, has nothing to do with the value that we're going to bring here. that I actually removed myself and was like, I'm not going to watch this because I don't want that to be in my head. I don't want to be sitting in those interview chairs and trying to like change my posture and suck in my stomach, and for me to be thinking about what my stomach looks like when I'm supposed to be engaging with these guests. And so this is something that I still constantly have to work on. It's not a one and done.
Right. Oh, this is so powerful. I love how you said, okay, that's it. I can't watch it back. And that it would distract, like it would distract from the interview.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people, I do my interviews face to face on Zoom because I like to see people's emotions.
Yeah.
And it throws a lot of people off at first. They're like, okay, why can I see me? Like, I don't want to be able to see me.
Yeah.
And they're worried, are you going to play this back? No, this is like you and I meeting in public. We're like, this is the next best thing to have a conversation.
Of course it is. Which is what's so powerful about video, right? The thing about video isn't going to change your business because video is magical. That's not why. Video is effective and video works because it gives people an opportunity to build, know, like, and trust with you, right? These aren't sales buzzwords. People want to work with someone that they feel like they know, right? That they can connect with, that they like, that they trust has their best interests at hand, or that they trust has the knowledge or the experience to help them, or that, they trust that they are invested in their yoga practice. Like, people want to work with a teacher that they can feel connected to. But if you are just posting still images, or if you're just black text on a white screen, you can't connect with that. So the power of video is that it gives people an opportunity to connect with you and your message. It's why Instagram influencers are so effective, right? Because we can see an ad, let's just say teeth whiteners, because this is one that a lot of the influencers like to sell. You can see an ad for teeth whiteners over and over and over and over again. And it may kind of pique your interest. And you may think, maybe it works, but how can I trust that this before and after isn't just completely edited, right? So you can't, you're making a judgment that isn't based on connection. Okay.
Right.
But when you have an influencer that maybe you watch their Instagram stories every day, and I see her, with her kids, and I see her getting ready to go on stage, and I see her talking about, what all of this type of stuff. And then when she mentions like, oh guys, this is a paid advertisement, but you have to know, I actually really love this, whatever, Smile Science or teeth whitener, it's really, really great, because you feel connected to that person is the reason why people are like, oh, I'll try that product. It has nothing to do with the actual video itself. It has to do with the connection piece over and over and over and over again.
Right. Oh, this is so true. This is exactly how it's like a friend telling you, you develop this connection with someone, and then a friend says to you, oh, this is the thing I use. You're like, oh, cool. Or why we even put up on Facebook, like, tell me your recommendations for this product. I'm looking for this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it all comes back to that trust issue, and you can't have trust without the connection piece, and you can't have connection without the human interaction, right? It's I don't know if you've ever done online dating. It's awful.
Yes.
It's awful.
Well, that's how I met my partner, Sean.
Oh, good for you. My number one problem is that you don't know anything about someone until you meet them face to face.
So true. It's
so you might be having a handful of texting or messaging conversations with a few different people. And as a single mom with 3 kids and a full-time job, trying to find time for first dates is, no, thank you. However, but this is the problem, right? Because you're talking to all these people over plain text, and you don't know anything about them until you meet them face to face. So now it's like, okay, well, now I have to find time to try and meet all these people face to face. No, thank you.
Right.
I'm so glad that it worked for you. It's not for me.
I also want to tell you that there was some online dating that did not work before that. So
I'm sure.
But people always ask, how did you and Sean meet? And when I tell them online dating, they're a bit shocked. Like, we also, though, talked over Skype before we met in person.
Video.
Because of the distance. He was over in Portland, Oregon. I'm over here in Ontario. So,
oh, wow. That's an interesting story. I will want to hear that sometime.
So one thing that really caught my attention when you were speaking is you were talking about Oprah as an example of what if she had waited. Can you share that with us?
Yeah. Well, you think about someone like Oprah, who we know that she has had issues with her body for her entire career. In fact, poor Oprah, her struggles with her body have played out very, very publicly for her entire career. And she's been able to use that as a platform, but think about what the world would have missed out on if Oprah felt like she had to be perfectly comfortable into her skin before she ever stepped in front of that camera when she was hosting on a news show or when they offered her her own show, right? We're talking about in the 80s now, which is so much longer ago than I feel like it was. But when they offered Oprah her own show, if she would have allowed the struggles that she had with her body and if how she looked to keep her from getting in front of the camera, we never would have had Oprah. And not just for her own career, but think about the work that she's done with young women all over the world with their education, right? You think about the platform that she has, and none of that would have happened if she felt like she had to look perfect before she showed up.
So I talk to multiple yoga teachers and tell them, the best way to get new students to sign up for your one-on-one sessions or your group classes is for them to grow this know, like, and trust. And video is the fastest way. And then they say, well, it's just that I don't like the way I look in video, or I don't feel comfortable right now, or I can't do the handstand like someone on Instagram can. And they hold off, or they say, I'm too old. Like, I see all the people on video are young. So do you have anything to say to those yoga teachers?
Yeah, so this is the most human of all things. Not feeling comfortable with how we look on camera is really normal because we are used to experiencing the world from inside of our own head, right? We're inside our own bodies, which yeah, a lot of us do have to continue doing work on feeling comfortable in our own skin. However, for most of us, we go throughout our day and we have conversations with people, and you're teaching your yoga classes and you're taking care of your students and you're providing value. And that's not what's in the back of your head. It's only when we start experiencing ourselves outside of our own head that it gives us this opportunity to start making judgments about it instead of just being present. And so one of the things that I always like to remind people of is that you are not alone in this, okay? Almost everyone that you've ever seen on video has had to struggle with this. Maybe some people less than others. However, even there's a lot of Hollywood actors and actresses that will not watch themselves back on camera. Reese Witherspoon, I think I said this at Legendary. We can all agree that Reese Witherspoon is objectively an attractive looking human. Reese Witherspoon has a hard time watching herself on camera because it makes her uncomfortable. Adam Driver, right? Adam Driver, who I believe just won an Oscar, perhaps, or at least he was nominated. He was definitely nominated, right? Kylo Ren, big movie star here. Kylo Ren will not watch himself on camera whatsoever. It causes such an extreme anxiety in him that it's actually written into his contract when he's appearing on press shows and on interview shows to promote movies that they do not show a clip while he's there because it gives him such extreme anxiety. And what he had said, which I love, is that there is no benefit to him as an actor that comes from watching himself back, because all that happens is he starts to criticize himself and he starts to pick at things that no one else notices. So we're talking about even people that are appearing on camera for a living recognize that A, this is a problem for me, and B, there's no benefit that comes from watching it back. So that first thing is always, you are not alone. Okay. The second thing that I would want to tell those yoga teachers is to really think about the value that you have to offer, right? Why do you teach yoga? why do you do this? Why do you love it? What value is it that you believe that you are bringing? Because if you focus on that, that's why I want you to put yourself on camera. That's why I want you to be willing to get on Instagram and post videos and talk about what you're learning in your practice and talk about why you love this, because you are providing value to customers. And in the same way that we have to think about what the world would have lost if Oprah was not willing to show up on camera, think about the people that are going to miss out on you, right? If you really believe that you have value to bring, which I know you do, which is why you're teaching, then think about what people are going to miss out if they don't get an opportunity to know you. Think about how many of your students are looking at those perfect yoga instructors that you're looking at on Instagram and thinking, well, I'm afraid to do yoga because I don't look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are, by being willing to show up as you are, exactly as you are, and say, this is me, and this is the value that I have to bring, and I want to help you, and I want to support you. You're giving an opportunity for other people that maybe don't feel like they have the perfect yoga body to jump in and say, like, okay, well, I look like her, or I look like him. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing, which I kind of already touched on, is don't watch your videos back.
Right. I mean, it's like we either have to get a video editor if it's something a little more polished, which I have a video editor, and
Yep.
she's always like, oh, Shannon, I love hanging out with you in these videos. And I think if I had to watch those, like I have to go back and watch snippets where she says, like, find the thing here. But I let her do the first go round. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is hard. And I will, if I am doing a video for marketing that's going out to thousands and thousands of people, I will watch those back
Yeah.
to make sure I hit the points that I was supposed to hit. I try and make sure, especially because I'm a paid speaker, I try and make sure that I don't have filler words like in there. So I'll watch those back and maybe, adjust a couple things. But in general, I have to be really, really conscious and intentional about my own self-talk, even when I'm watching those back, to make a decision to not, start criticizing myself for the tiny little lisp that I think I might have when I say S's, or if I'm tired and one of my eyes is looking a little bit smaller than the other, because those are the things that will not only affect you negatively in the long term. Our words are powerful, especially our words to ourselves. But then those are the things that I'm going to keep recording it again and again and again and again, rather than focusing on the value.
Right.
Right? Focus on the value. So if you do have to watch it back, there are times when it makes sense to watch a video back. But when you're getting on your Instagram stories to share something that you were thinking about in your meditation, or to talk about, how hard you've been working on a headstand and, the challenge. If you're getting on Instagram stories to talk about those, don't watch it back and re-record it and try and make it perfect, because people can connect with human and flawed better than they can connect with perfect and polished.
It's so true. I love Instagram stories when they're just that person showing up. Maybe the subtitles are nice, but I like that in order to do those subtitles, like the words, the summary, you have to watch it back.
Yeah.
Sometimes I put it on silent and I don't look at it and I type the words because I think it's like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. I love that you highlighted the value that we can bring. We have yoga teachers in our community that have so much to offer and give. And I know that even new teachers are afraid to go and show up in front of a class of people in person. They work hard to get over that. And then video is really, I love how you said, like, we see ourselves always, like we're always looking out onto the world. We don't see ourselves. Our students in our classes are attending our classes. They love us. They see us for who we are, and then it's like we could share that a little bit further with video. So I'm excited. I hope that yoga teachers get out there and do this. I did a recording with Yoga Anytime, and I cannot watch those videos back. So there was a whole film crew there. I wanted to dress in like layered, bigger clothing, like what I normally wear. I wanted to wear my normal clothing, and they said, no, you can't. Like, we need to be able to see the body, and on camera, these bright colors show up better in these yoga clothes. And it was very vulnerable. I've gotten so many comments from people, though, to say, like, I'm so glad that you did this. This, like, yoga helped me so much. And the purpose is to help people with their pelvic health. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly like one of my frustrations with social media, because I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I really do. But one of my frustrations is that something like Instagram, so much of Instagram has become so curated.
Yes.
That it's almost like we start to feel like, well, we're not welcome here unless I look like the other influencers, which really stop, because the platform is here for all of us to share. And if you're buying into my profile has to look like this, or I have to fit this certain mold, you are doing a disservice to the community, because the global community is better when we all participate and show up and bring our value. And which really comes back to that piece of, you do not have to alter the way that you look, the way that you are, your experience level, your knowledge. You don't have to alter any of that before you're allowed to show up. Show up and grow together, right? Like, if you're working on something, show up and share with your community what you're working on. Show up and share with your community that this is a new challenge for you to get over being on video, because vulnerability and bravery win over and over and over again. One of my favorite phrases, I say it to all the people around me. I hope that I get to keep saying it on stage and on podcasts, but in my experience, bravery and authenticity are always rewarded in the universe one way or another. One way or another. And sometimes the bravery that it takes to be authentic and that authenticity is going to remove things or people from you. But do you really want things or people that were there when you weren't being authentic in the first place?
Right.
Right? So that bravery and authenticity of being willing to show up exactly as you are, it's going to bring rewards. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you.
Oh, this is so good. Such a good message. I'm excited for our connected yoga teachers. So tell us also what BombBomb is. Let me first just tell our listeners that I heard about your company, and it was this talk about, like, we all feel this when we go on video. We all are judging ourselves. Here's how to dig into the bigger issue. Then I was like, what company does she work for? What is this thing that it is? So tell us, what is that company?
Yeah. So I teased it at the beginning that we're video for communication. We primarily make it really, really easy for business professionals, right? Whether you are selling, whether you are teaching, whether you are serving customers, we believe that your messages are going to be better if they're delivered by you. So we make it really, really easy for business professionals to use simple video in text and in email, right? Email and text messages. So you can send one-to-one video over email. You can send a video to 500 people at one time if you want, but it's essentially your video is embedded right in the body of the email. It's not a link that they have to navigate away to. You're not sending them to YouTube. It's not an attachment for them to download. We have a Gmail extension and an Outlook extension, as well as a web platform and a mobile app. So really, you can do this no matter what email address you use. right? You can do this. But if you're a Gmail user, for example, I have our Gmail integration puts our recorder right inside of my compose and my reply window. So if someone sends me an email, or if I want to send an email to someone, all I have to do is just press that little record button. It pops up a video recorder. I say what I'm going to say. When I'm done, that video pops into the email, and I send it the exact same way as I would send any plain text email. So right inside the inbox, you have the opportunity to speak to someone directly. I get frustrated when I have to type emails now because it's so much easier to communicate this way. And the message has emotion and tonality and eye contact, and people can connect with it. Right. So, one of my favorite things to do, and it's a little bit cheeky, but when I get cold sales prospecting emails because of my title at BombBomb, I get a lot of, cold prospecting emails of people reaching out, wanting to sell the company softwares and things like that. And one of the things that I will do consistently when someone sends me a cold prospecting email is I will send them a video back. And I always write their name on the whiteboard, because we take the first 3 seconds of your video and we loop it into a GIF, so that as soon as someone opens an email, they see that thumbnail and they see motion, just like as if they were scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. As soon as they open their inbox, they see movement. And it's just a GIF. But what we train on is if you write someone's name on a whiteboard and you hold it up at the beginning of the video, as soon as they open their email, they see a smiling human face and they see their name written on a whiteboard. It's very compelling, right? They're going to press play on that video, because why is this person, number one, sending me a video? And number two, why do they have my name on the whiteboard? So I just got one of these the other day. Cold prospecting email. I think the guy's name was Ashton. I sent him back a video. I wrote on the whiteboard, "Hi, Ashton," and I sent him a video saying, "Hey, Ashton, thank you for reaching out. I'm not the right person at the company to make that kind of decision. I don't think we would be interested either way, but have you ever thought about, trying cold prospecting with video? Because it gives you an opportunity to speak directly to the person, just like I'm doing right now, and put their name on a whiteboard," which you saw was very compelling. So I told him, I was like, "Listen, I've done sales. I respect the hustle. I know that cold prospecting is hard. And if you want to talk about how video makes it easier, let me know."
I love that this is your reply back.
Well, and I'm not even in sales, but here's the thing. I really do believe in it. And it's a game changer for anyone in sales or service. If you are serving customers or if you are selling, it's a game changer. And I get the best replies because their minds are always blown. And we do video tracking. So he replied and he said, "Wow, that's really cool. I'm going to have to show this to my leadership." But that video has been played 8 times now.
That's amazing.
So he's showing it to other people.
Yes, which is getting the word out about your company. I love it. You're right. So this is exactly what happened. I found out about your product. A friend of mine said, "Ooh, I told her, right? I told her about it." And she said, "I have this course. I want to message everyone and send them a personal email if they were interested in it." We then couldn't figure out how to do the integration within 3 seconds because we didn't Google it or anything. I emailed you and right away you were like, "Let's jump on a Zoom call and I'll walk you through this." And it made a huge impact in her business.
Yeah.
And selling that course.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It really, again, it comes back to this thing. We're just better face to face.
Yes.
Right. If you were given the opportunity to talk to a potential new client about what your yoga program entails, and if you were given the opportunity to say, would you like to sit down with them in a coffee shop, or would you like to write them an email? Of course, the option is going to be sit down with them in a coffee shop. But if you don't get to do that, the next best thing is to record the video.
You're right. Our team recently had this thing come through where they're like, "How are we going to deal with this post that was posted in our group?" Or was like, we have a global group of yoga teachers, and they both backed away like, "We don't know what to do." And I thought, I'm going to do an audio message to that person. Mm-hmm. And they were so thankful. Where my team was like, "Oh, what's the reaction going to be from this, Shannon?" But see, you can hear a tone of voice. So video is even more so. you can like see that someone's authentic. Yeah.
Anytime you have to deliver bad news or deliver a tough message, video is so crucial for that because it gives them an opportunity to sense tonality. One of the things that I love asking a room when I'm on stage is, how many of you have ever sent or received an email or text message that was misunderstood because tonality was lacking?
Oh, yes.
Right? 100% of the room. 100% of the room will put their hands up because tonality is so important, right?
Yes.
It's so crucial to your messages, whether it's good news or bad news. Because even if you're saying, congratulations on reaching 100 followers or whatever it is, no matter what that is, if tonality is missing, it could sound sarcastic.
You're right. Oh,
Right.
yes.
So I really, that's the win. Like I said, with video, it's not the secret sauce for your business. It gives you the ability to be more human in your communication, for people to feel more connected to your message, for you to communicate with clarity, right? Like I'm doing a webinar in a couple hours here with panelists. And, the difference between trying to type out a big, long email to send to everyone with all of the details and the questions versus being able to send a video to all three people and saying, hey guys, so excited for Wednesday. Here's what to expect. It's just easier. It's easier to communicate that way.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm thinking about and you can also track if that's been opened.
Yep.
Is that right?
By email address. We tell you who opened the email and who played the video.
This would like solve an issue because we send out this routine. Well, you would have gotten it. Here's what to expect in your call with us. If it was me doing a pre-recorded video, sticking it in there, going over this information, the information would still be there for our text readers.
Yep. You still, and I always encourage that if you're sending a video and there's important details, to bullet point those details outside of the video. Because the same way that when you listen to a voicemail with an address and you have to listen to it several times, you don't want them to have to watch your video multiple times to write down the details. The video's there for emotion, connection, and clarity.
Right.
The bullet points are there for reference.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great thing. And I know from sending, sometimes I'll reply on Instagram via video when someone reaches out to me and they're shocked, like in the DMs or audio. They're just like, I didn't know this was possible.
It's right
They
there.
love it. They feel like you've just gone this extra step. And I think I just didn't have to type all that.
Exactly.
It's so much easier.
Yeah. So even for Instagram and Facebook Messenger, a lot of times, if I'm sending a video to someone on Facebook Messenger or in Instagram, I will use my BombBomb mobile app and pop the video link, because like Instagram, as you've experienced, I'm sure, it only lets you do it in 15-second segments. Right? Which is frustrating. Or for Facebook video, the thing that I have found really frustrating about Facebook video is that when you're recording it, as soon as you take your finger off the record button, it sends the video.
Yes.
Which means if you did mess up, or if you didn't say something, or if while you were recording the video, your kids started fighting and ran into the room screaming bloody murder.
I can tell that's happened.
Yeah, it has. Right. So which I'm so glad that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that they're embracing video in their messaging, because this is where we're all going.
Yes.
If you are afraid of video, you don't have very much longer until you don't have a choice because it's becoming more and more prevalent. So I appreciate that they have put video messaging capabilities into their DMs, but it's frustrating to use when I'm so used to our product. So even for Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger, I will a lot of times use our mobile app, copy the video link, and pop that into Messenger.
Okay. And so when you do that, does it just show up as a link, or is there a quick little GIF?
So in Facebook, it will populate the video thumbnail with the GIF. Instagram won't. It's just the link on Instagram.
Right.
They're difficult that way.
Pay attention, Instagram and Facebook. Here are the updates you need to make.
Exactly.
Oh, this is amazing. So I also think that there's a free trial of BombBomb. Am I right?
There is. Yes. Yep. So if you want to give it a try, we have a 14-day free trial. There's no credit card required to do the 14-day free trial. And when you sign up for it, you are going to get a one-on-one like demo call with one of our strategy coaches. And what's great about this is they're going to ask you questions about your business and find out like, are you a Gmail user? Do you use Salesforce? Like they're going to find out what you're doing in your business, and then they're going to show you where video fits in seamlessly. And they're going to,
that's impressive.
right. Cause it's not just like a product demo, a sales product demo. They're actually going to be like, okay, you're using it in Gmail. Let's get your Gmail integration set up. And they're going to show you how to record a video in Gmail so that you're set up for success. So if you want to try the free trial, if you just go to bombbomb.com, now that's BOMB.com/next steps.
Okay.
So bombbomb.com/next steps. You can sign up for a free trial. Like I said, no credit card required. You get to try it out for 14 days. This is what I can tell you about BombBomb. And I know I work for BombBomb, so maybe it's less convincing, but it's the truth. The only people that cancel a BombBomb subscription are people that aren't using it.
Right.
The people that use it don't cancel because it doesn't matter what you're doing for it. We have customers. We have a couple, they're a real estate team. They're married and they have been customers for 7 years. And 95% of what they use it for is to send their past clients a personal happy birthday video. And that is for 7 years. That's primarily what they're doing with it, right? And there's so many things they could be doing with it, but that's what they focus on is personal happy birthdays for all of their clients. People love it. So again, the people that actually use our product, I mean, we have I think 50,000 customers, but the people that are actually using the product don't cancel it because no matter what it is that you're doing, your email communication is going to be more effective. And like you said, it's way easier to just say it than to try and type it all out. So yeah, free trial, give it a try. It's you'll love it.
I think even if people sign up and then see how it can be used, because BombBomb is right in your, like, you'll see right away how it could be used with a company who decides to use video. It's amazing.
Yeah. I would say some of the best things that I would recommend for yoga instructors with the actual platform, like your social media is an important aspect when we're talking about BombBomb. This is more the direct communication piece. So, number one, anyone that's in your pipeline that is not actually a client yet, but that you're having conversations with, or that's reached out and voiced interest in a class or private instruction, those people you should always respond with a video, right? Because you want them to feel connected to you. You want to build that know, like, and trust. I would say people that when you've lost touch with a client, right? Someone who maybe was showing up to classes and then suddenly is not there anymore. What a great opportunity to send a video to say, hey, I'm just thinking about you, like checking in. Because again, that tonality, right? Because the difference between getting a plain text email from someone that says, hey, you haven't been at class lately, are you okay? Or what's going on? They could receive that harshly. Right?
Exactly.
You don't know what's going on in their life or in their head or what's happened on that day for how that message is going to be received. Whereas if you send a video and they get to see your sincerity and they get like, oh, this person actually cares about me. Oh, right. Thank yous. Oh, the best thing that you can do with video is thank the people that are supporting your business, which is really supporting your life if you're a business owner, to thank them with video. Because tonality, connection, human emotion is contagious. So yeah, a thank you card is great. I'm not saying you should never send a handwritten thank you card, but the difference between seeing a piece of paper that someone wrote thank you on versus them getting a video and saying, Shannon, thank you so much for supporting my business and for being a part of, this yoga practice. It means the world to me. It wouldn't be the same without you there. Like, impactful, right? So
Right.
for working people through the pipeline, building that connection, following up with people that haven't been there, thank yous. And then, of course, anytime you're selling, right? If you're selling a class or a workshop, it's going to be much more effectively delivered by a human face.
This is so true. I recently did a thank you video for all of our team with our 3-year podcast birthday. And one of them was like, Shannon, I was in tears. I showed my husband. I want to know if I can download it. Like I just wanted to do it personally because we work all over the world and we don't get a chance to meet in person,
Yep.
which is the way the world is now.
Yep.
And some of them are traveling so much that I can't even send a handwritten card. So I was like, video is going to be the way we go.
Yeah. And it's just, I just think it's better. I think it's better because you get the emotional element of it, right? Emotions are contagious. When you walk into a room when everyone is laughing, you can't help but like, oh, like what's everyone laughing? Like you feel that emotion. Same thing when you walk into a room and you can cut the tension with a knife, right? You can sense that. So when you're delivering something like thank you or happy birthday or, happy 1-year anniversary of being on our team, you want them to feel the emotion that you feel from those messages.
Yeah. Oh, this is so true. This has been amazing. I am excited. I hope our connected yoga teachers dive in and do some video in whatever way they do. I'd love to hear about it in our comments on our show notes page. And all of the links will be there to get in touch. What's the best website for them to go to if they want to find out more about BombBomb?
I would say if they go to bombbomb.com, they can read lots there. Or if they want to do the free trial, the bombbomb.com/next steps.
And if they want to follow you, where's the best place to do that?
Instagram is where I spend most of my social media time, and it's AL_Berruti, which is BERRUTI. The thing that makes it nice and easy is that the only Berrutis really in the entire United States are myself, my children, and my ex-husband. So I still I kept the name. So, but it's Alicia Berruti, AL_Berruti, BERRUTI. And the thing that I love about my Instagram is that I'm not running a business. And so I know how to teach social media, but I'm not compelled to post often or, curate anything. So my Instagram is very, very much just me and my life, but I do post a lot of video content talking about gratitude and making peace with our stories and the challenges of life and being present and all of that. So yeah, join me.
Thank you so much for the work that you do. It is really important in this world. And I look forward to hearing from our yoga teachers of how they then share it out into the world after chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Shannon. This has been a pleasure. Like I said before we hit record, if there is one thing that I could do on this planet with my voice and platform, it would be to help set people free from, this negative messaging and the way that we judge our own bodies. I think it's time for us to set ourselves free from that.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, connected yoga teachers. How was that? What was your key takeaway? What have you learned after listening to Alicia? And are you feeling like you can take this and make some videos? I hope that you are feeling that way. Thank you again, Alicia, for doing this important work of empowering us to get out there and share our videos, share our message, share our voices using video. And thank you also for just really showing up to share your honest story of how this is a work in progress. This isn't just like, yep, I'm confident, check that off my list, and away I go. This is something that we all are dealing with. Connected yoga teachers, are we up for a live video challenge? I have been thinking about doing one in our Facebook group. And maybe what I'll do is go and put a poll in there today and ask who is up for a live video challenge based on today's episode, or just based on let's get word out there before things really kick up a notch in September. So I am hoping that we see that natural increase in yoga students in September. It usually happens around January and again around September. I'm hopeful, whether that's online or in person. So if we can create some live videos here in August leading up to September, or whenever it is that you're listening to this episode, really, because it takes some time to, put videos out there and practice and play around with it. And that's part of it. Show up, be okay with doing a video that is just not going to be 100% perfect. Think about when you started walking and how wobbly it was and how many times you fell down. And no one was expecting you to be, running marathons when you started walking. And no one is expecting you to have perfect videos, perfect lighting, perfect audio. That's not what anyone wants these days. People love to connect with real people over video. So if you're up for this, let's dive in and do this together. Let's practice in a safe space, like in the Connected Yoga Teacher group. If enough people say yes in this poll that I post in there, then I will make it happen. We will do a little challenge and we will all do it together. I'll decide. If not many people want it, then we might have to do a different Facebook group that is just for our live video. But I think we can do it in a really fun way and do it inside the Connected Yoga Teacher group. I've got some ideas. So let me know. Either leave me a voicemail on the connectedyogateacher.com homepage, or send me an email, info@theconnectedyogateacher.com, or let me know in the Facebook group. Also, I have some other exciting news. Speaking of video, this year's Yoga for Pelvic Health training, which starts September the 5th, is all online this year. This is the first time ever that it's happening all online. It's a 20-hour training. It's happening over 2 weekends in September. It's really important that if you want to attend this, you can show up live, because we are going to do it like we're live together. We are going to teach to each other. We're going to ask the live questions, workshop things, really learn about pelvic health information and how we can bring that into our yoga classes, whether that's one-on-one yoga, in group sessions, or in workshops. If you are listening to this past September the 5th, or if this training is full because it's getting close to full, not to worry. I will do this again. Right now, I'm going to plan to do it again online, and we'll see if there's also a time where we can meet in person, which I do love to do. Right now, though, it's happening online, which means that you get an extra bonus of getting all of the recordings of our sessions. So if you're interested in this training, you can go to theconnectedyogateacher.com and look under trainings and events. Thank you so much to our team over here at the Connected Yoga Teacher, Suzanne, Crunch, Nick, and Sinead. You do so much behind the scenes, and it is thanks to you that today's episode is even possible. Thank you also, dear listener. Without your time, the podcast doesn't really exist. So thank you for tuning in. I know you're super busy, and I am so grateful that you have spent your time today figuring out how to get doing some live video or pre-recorded video. It doesn't have to be live video. I would love to hear from you. If you decide to share video online, tag me on social media. It's at The Connected Yoga Teacher. You can find me on Instagram or Shannon Crow on Facebook. Alrighty, Connected Yoga Teachers, I want to know what you will be doing this week to stay connected to yourself, to your yoga practice, and to your community so that you can share the yoga that lights you up.